Hello and welcome to the Libri Labra Book Club. I am joined by my husband John, aka BookTube Hubby, and Book Club VIP member Tom. And today we are going to be talking about Family Lore by Elizabeth Acevedo. And we're going to go over some non spoilerish initial thoughts and then jump into spoiler territory. I don't have a physical copy of the book, so unfortunately I can't show it. But just as a heads up, if you ever want to join us on screen for our discussion, you can do that by becoming a book club VIP member on patreon.com. And there's a few other perks like priority responses and YouTube comments, and getting to see some behind the scenes stuff, and being in a rotation where you help us pick the books that we're reading, in addition to being part of our exclusive Facebook chat where we talk about some of the media that we're consuming. Oh, hey.
I was trying to pull it up so we can get at least a cover. Okay.
One of them anyway.
Thank you. Yeah, there's a couple of them. The one that I have from, because I borrowed it from the library, doesn't look like that. I like that one better though.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I do like that cover better.
Didn't know there was different ones.
Yeah. Hold on, let me see. Might as well just pull it up too.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's very different.
So this is the other one.
Yeah, it's the one I have.
All right. So, initial thoughts.
It was a
You're
family
like,
story.
It was a story.
Good. Yeah. I mean, I went into it knowing it was about a big family, but I didn't realize what I was getting into. So, but it was a good story. It was fun.
How about you, Tom?
Well, I scanned like maybe the more first or second line of the blurb that they have on Goodreads, and I was like, all right, well, we'll see what this is, and because as you know, I try not to read too much into it. So I was like, yeah,
same.
Yeah.
I have read, I want to say almost all, I think, of Elizabeth Acevedo's previous stuff. She has written a few YA books in verse, and she also does slam poetry, and so she's kind of like an auto-buy author for me at this point. And this was one of her adult, I think maybe her first adult book. So I was really eager to check it out. I think initial thought-wise, there's a lot of characters, and we're following a lot of different people, and so I kept looking up like who was who just to remember how they were related to each other. And then apparently there were some jumps in time as well, which I could feel I didn't find them too confusing, but I also couldn't really tell you exactly where those time jumps were, or how they were being laid out, so it wasn't super clear. But overall I did enjoy the book. Now, since the two of you are not like native Spanish speakers, did you find that to be difficult? Like, was there too much Spanish in it for you, or were those parts confusing? Did you stop to look any of them up?
I knew just enough to get by. I did have to look up a couple things, but I basically used a lot of. It was all out of it was contextual. So, but I guess just having a little bit of knowledge of the language to begin with helped me a little bit, but it wasn't enough.
I feel like for the most part it was dialogue, like somebody was like saying something or responding in Spanish. Any thoughts, Tom?
This is where I think e-readers have an advantage, because all I had to do is like highlight and say translate.
Oh,
like, hooray!
Very nice.
Yeah. So, and for the most part, yeah, except for like maybe one or two things where I just didn't understand. Yeah. And there's contextual clues that if you don't know Spanish, you know what would a person say in response to this thing. Well, and then you look up, oh yeah, okay. So, but there are some where they would like use a single word, and it didn't have a translation. And I said, well, I'll just move on.
Slang, you had to guess
that.
that.
Yeah. Well, and hopefully there was more contextual clues as to what they were talking about. But it didn't happen often, so yeah. But that's what I said. Yeah, like you said, just highlighting it. Like, for some reason it's like, oh, this is English. Like, no, it's Spanish. It's Spanish. Oh, okay, now here's the translation. So.
What did you think of the writing overall?
Who are you asking?
John.
that's that is a what? I don't know. I didn't have any issues with it. I didn't find it's too.
Well, I think, I guess the reason I'm asking is because she does write poetry, and I feel
Right.
like that's, to me, it seems obvious in her writing.
Does she write
That
poetry?
it, yeah,
That she has
that
a
she,
certain
it's just,
cadence to
but
it.
like,
It's got a
it's
certain
very
prose.
lyrical, yeah.
Yeah. So
And some
I
people don't like that, so
didn't pick up on it, so it wasn't a big a deal to me.
okay, so it's just.
She knows what she's doing.
How about you, Tom?
I mean, it's a well written book, but for me, it was hard to keep track of 6 female characters. And it wasn't always clear to me. Okay, now who is this again? And who is she talking to? Like what their relationship was, and also, to your point about the timeline, like apparently they're like you had to. Okay, that's like a jigsaw puzzle. Where does this fit in with the general timeline? And who are they talking about? Because apparently they lived in the countryside in the Dominican Republic, and at some point, like the progress was going to the capital, and then once you're in the capital, okay, now we're going to America, and it's like, okay, which character are we talking about? Where point are they at in this journey? And I find that hard to keep track of. But that's on me, not on the author. So.
I think for a while I had a little bit of trouble trying to figure out like who was talking, like who was telling the story.
It
Right.
changes perspectives as well. So that kind of messed with me a little bit too.
But it felt like, and maybe I could be wrong, but it felt like Ona was telling the whole
Yes.
story.
The grandbaby.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Floor's kid.
Flores. Yes. Because she was the one that went away to college, right?
Yes, she was the one who was teaching.
Okay.
The anthropology person. Yeah.
And so it seemed like she was telling the whole story, and like it was still broken up into different characters' chapters, but she was still telling the story of those people.
Okay. Is that why the perspective changes? Because it's I versus them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then there's moments within each chapter where she's like, let me take a minute and explain something else further here.
Mm-hmm. That's how you get Ant's backstory.
Yes. Well, also too, remember, she's the one who is conducting interviews of all the family members for Flora's living wake.
Mm.
That's what all this is. So yeah, she's the interviewer, and then like Desiree said, she'll interject like an editor is going to say, "Oh, this is what this is to explain, what you're about to read or what you have read," sort of a thing.
Interesting.
Now I feel like I have to reread it.
I honestly rereading would help because now that you know what the relationships are, the characters. Oh, okay, and now
Right.
Just
I feel like a
hard.
lot click more because I don't think I fully processed why Ant was in jail. I know they said it and I heard pieces of it, but like I didn't understand if they were saying that he was accused of doing a thing because he was
the one they caught. That's why.
Him and 3 or 4 other boys jumped somebody.
Okay.
Yeah.
That kid ended up in the hospital in a coma that he never came out of.
Okay.
So, they did whatever they could to prosecute against whoever beat him up, and Ant was the first one that was caught. But even though he didn't continue beating the kid, he stopped him and was like, "Dude, this isn't okay."
Yeah,
he didn't tell anybody else
because he didn't want to get anybody else in trouble.
Right.
As a gang member.
Right. Okay. Um, what do we think about the magic in the story, or everybody's?
Got a little bit of something,
Mm-hmm.
a little special ability or power or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thing, I guess. I don't know what am I supposed to think of it? Like, oh, fantastical abilities, or but the fact that everybody, I think, I don't know. I want to go visit this place now because I believe in all this crap. Like,
What? What?
it's not magic if you believe in it. Like, there's people have psychic abilities.
Oh, when you said this place.
Yeah, I was talking about Casadega.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I don't know about the other one though. That's an interesting power.
Are we talking? Who's
Yeah, I don't know whose it was, but she had a.
Was that also Ona, or was that?
That could be Yachty. Let's see.
Because Yachty was with Ant.
Yeah, it is Ona. It is
Okay,
Ona.
right. Because her and Jeremiah had a whole conversation, and I was like, "Oh, okay, so it's her."
Yeah, because they were trying to conceive, and
Right.
then became work, and there's a whole extended discussion about it.
And she also had a surgery, and I was trying to keep all that together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, speaking of rereading it, I had started the book, and then it was like a few weeks after. I said, all right, let's start this for reals. And I was glad that I did, because I did not pick up the first time that, the first chapter where it says that Flora basically has a dream of herself, like the premonition of herself passing away.
I didn't recall that. Didn't recall that. I assumed that it was going to be her the whole book.
Yeah. Yeah, but if you reread it, you'll pick it up. Oh, that's why we have the story.
That's why she's doing the wake.
Yes, that's why she's doing the wake.
She wanted to tell everybody, hey, this is about to happen, guys.
Mm-hmm.
But she didn't want to tell them. She told them, but she didn't tell them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And what do you think were like her reasons for that?
Her own. Like, she didn't want everybody to start flipping out and doing whatever they could to stop it. It's not something that she could even day of, like, they tried, but it's not something you can stop. And to put that much weight on everybody knowing it's coming and to tell everybody that it's coming, that's just all stress and anxiety.
But you don't think they were kind of doing that anyway? You don't think they were doing that with her planning the trying to plan this living wake? They were like,
there was both sides of it.
She
does want to tell them, but she doesn't want to tell them.
I mean,
so
even that day she was like, I saw someone's death.
Can't tell you who.
I'm having a living wake, add two together.
Let's all not stress out about it.
Yeah. Surprise.
Why were they saying that crap, was her name Pastora?
Pastora, yeah.
Because it kept being mentioned that she knew.
Because she was the sister.
They were all sisters.
But I'm saying those two were back and forth. They knew, they were always the closest. So
yeah.
Oh, well, her power was also about people telling the truth.
Right.
Okay.
But even though Flora, never said, "Oh, it's me," but just by the things that happened after that, like having living wake, it's like, well, it has to be you. And so then the question becomes, when's it going to happen?
I feel like the whole situation with Matilde and her husband, I don't know. There was like a few points in the book where I started crying. And
I think I know one of them.
One of them was definitely like hearing the description of her wedding day.
Yes, that's what I was thinking about.
Which was like,
when he leaves her in the limousine.
Yeah, like that was horrible. And I think I also felt bad for Rafa when he was crying when he didn't know what was going on because they wouldn't let him in the hospital. But I don't know. That whole thing was messy. I don't know if I have an actual question to ask about it. It was just so many people were trying to tell her what was going on. It's not like she didn't know, but I guess she was having
that one, I don't know, aunt or whoever it was that was telling her, oh, better the she was explaining it to somebody else.
Oh yeah.
It was better the devil you know than the devil you don't. And I was like, oh hell no.
I mean, it kind of sucks because in Latino culture, I feel like there's just so much of that. There's so much of so much cheating and so much machismo and so much and women end up stuck, and that's kind of the advice they get from the other women in their family, so that was sad on lots of different levels, especially because one of the reasons were that they felt like Matilde wouldn't find somebody else because she couldn't have kids, like that.
Right.
So that really sucked.
Is that what Rafa was looking? No, that's not what Rafa said.
No, I don't. I mean, I don't think that's what he was looking for. It seemed like
that's what she originally thought, but then time proved otherwise.
He's just an idiot.
Well, I mean, she didn't say anything about it happening on their wedding night. So, like, I don't know. That's almost like giving permission at that point. I feel like
What?
That he left her.
What not happening on the wedding night?
He left her to go like sleep around
on her wedding night.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I must have missed that.
Left her. Yeah, he left her in the car, and he made Pastora's husband, because that's who was driving, Manuelito, I think. Mm-hmm. And I think he said something to him in Spanish that was like something along the lines of like, we need to keep women waiting so they know their place, or something like that.
Right.
What he said as he was getting out of the car.
Mm-hmm.
And then she went back to the hotel by herself. So, like,
to a hotel she worked at, I might add.
Yeah, she didn't want anybody to see her going in alone or going in with a man that wasn't her husband.
Wasn't right. So she had to go in her room.
I didn't take the time to look it up, but I'm curious what inspired this story for her, or what aspects of it she might have been pulling from her own life, or if there was a death in her family that made her want to write about it. I think what's interesting, John has been talking about Casa Dega, which is somewhere near us, and he wants to go, and it's like the psychic center of the world, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a haunted house there. And so I have just said that, like, I'd be willing to make a day trip, but I'm not staying at the haunted house because there's just no way. Because I know I will see things, or I will have something come to me in a dream, and I'm not trying to have that.
Right.
So I just feel like I can kind of relate to Flor with her dreams. Like, what are you looking at?
Time.
Oh,
Well, it's
It-
just interesting that the way the sisters um, grew close to each other. You have Flora and Pastora having these, let's say, supernatural gifts, and then we have Matilda and Camilla, who possess physical gifts, like dancing and healing. And it's just interesting. I thought the way that panned out.
I'm glad that Matilde finally decided to, like, I guess, accept her power or want to do something with it after so much time.
Well, she tried, but she was prevented. Because she had that one
Oh,
evening with the
that
dancer,
right.
the professional dancer. He's like, "Come with me," and then Mom said, "Oh no, you're not doing that." So, yeah, that's another theme. It seems like for people who want to go somewhere and do something. Oh no, you can't do that. But by the same token, oh, we have to send you away for various reasons, like Flora to the convent, or who was it? The other one was it Pastora?
It was Pastora that they sent
Yeah.
away. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And I guess they were explaining something about, like, how Dominican kids are adopted out.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, the extended family. Well, that's how was it Pastora got with that the aunt that was mounted, as the book puts it. Yeah, she's nuts. Oh yeah, she was good up until now. Well, she's not good now. So to the point where when Flora, the convent won't take Flora because she stands up for Pastora and takes her away. It's like, well, we don't want anything to do with these people. So.
Wonder how many jokes were actually supposed to be written into that "you're a horrible sister" line. Is that about the convent? Some jokes that they made, them being a bad sister to each other? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
A lot.
Well, they did come to each other's rescue. But it was interesting to see. Wait, what was it when they went to? Well, the two sets, because what was it? The daughters got together to play cards, and that was one scene. The other was when the four sisters actually got together. And I forget what they were doing, and just like how the lines of battles were drawn.
I didn't realize that it was set up like that. Okay.
Yeah. So there's a kind of not synchronicity, but symmetry. Symmetry.
I think something that struck me that I hadn't considered at all was until it was happening was how she sent Ant to the store, and then it took him so long to come back. And I don't recall how long he was in prison, but I mean, I've heard stories like that where people are gone for so long they don't know how technology has changed and things have changed, and like it's just so hard to reintegrate back into society unless you have someone there like teaching you, this is how you do this is how you do this.
But that was a sad scene too.
Yeah, I know, because he could have ended up going back to jail,
right?
For like, yeah.
And that was on Yachty because you should have remembered. Oh, you have to have the PIN number.
But even then, she didn't realize that was going to be a thing.
She didn't.
And then the people giving him a hard time because he had a hard time with the machine, instead of like, oh, he's trying to figure it out, they were just giving him shit. It was.
Well, you see a person of color trying to type in a PIN multiple times at a machine. What's the what I guess what was the reaction? There's something illegal afoot, and it wasn't really. So
40 minutes is a long time.
Yes.
So,
the point where she had to go get him.
Yeah, and he didn't even have a cell phone that she could contact him. Like, I don't know. That must have been...
Dude, the whole thing, every aspect of it was ridiculously like extremely stressful from even our perspective from reading it, because even after the fact he was like, dude, I was so happy that I finally got through it.
Yeah.
I finally learned the machine, I figured it out and did the
Mhm.
thing, and then they came over and just and ruined it, you know.
Mhm.
It was a whole scene.
Well, I mean, I think he got stuck at the pin number thing.
Yes.
So
Yeah, but I would assume that it was one of those self
Yeah,
checkouts.
yeah.
So,
it took
yeah,
them a while to figure the machine out to
all those
begin
out.
with.
Yeah,
They noticed that and started
Right.
watching it at that point, and then when he couldn't, when the
I think that's when the problem started. Is when
Right.
he started, he couldn't get the pin. So yeah. Also, am I right? Yes, I think I am. I don't remember which one though. I think it was Yachty though who had to get sent back to Dominican Republic because was it her that had attacked one of the kids, like one of the students, or something like that?
I don't remember that.
Okay.
I feel like but Yadi went to Aunt at the end of the book and said she was going to go back to the Dominican Republic.
I just remember, and I could be wrong, like is that the person was in the United States and they were growing up there, so it had to have been one of the girls, Ona or Yachty, and they said, "Oh, yeah, there's, you know, like the gang aspect and such, and that was growing, and we want to preserve. We don't want that to happen to her, so they sent her back to the Dominican Republic."
Yeah, I guess I don't remember that. You?
I remember it something about it. I don't remember the full details though.
Yeah.
Somebody did have to go back for, but
Yeah. Okay, because they sent it back to the grandmother.
Mm. Mm. And the grandmother was Mama Sylvia.
Yeah, Mama Sylvia. Hmm?
who?
And then again, see, this is the thing. Yeah, it depends on who in relation to who you're talking about, because they also have the, Mama Sylvia's mother as well in the story with with the religious aunt. So it's like, okay, who are you talking about, and what's their relationship to everybody else? And it's not hard, but you just have to know, like I said, who you're talking about.
Was somebody's name redacted from the book, or is somebody's name very close to that word?
No. It was redacted.
Yeah, that was the woman.
There was like brackets and
Okay, so we're like, yeah. So this lady, we're not speaking her name. Did
Right.
this, and this. This lady, we're not speaking her name. Okay, all right. That's what I thought, because I was hearing this. I'm like, why is this lady's name redacted from the book? Do we have problems with this lady?
Well, again, yeah, apparently, because like if it's an interview, like if you're taking down things word for word and say, "Oh, well, we can't publish that, so we'll just take redact and just complete a copy." I had to think that during the interview the person's name was said, and then after they,
Oh yeah, I don't want my name out.
Yeah, we don't want trouble. We don't want trouble, so we'll just take it out. They'll know who they're talking about.
That changes. Yeah, right. I know what they're like. Who are they like? Just taking their name out doesn't change what they're doing, what's happening. But I get it.
Well, yeah. I don't know who it was.
Well, we as the readers wouldn't, but within their world, the person.
Oh, they do, yeah. I was reading on Goodreads that a lot of people were like upset by the ending.
What was upsetting you?
I don't know. They just didn't like the ending, and I'm like, did they not like that Flora was the one that died? Because I just like,
we knew that was happening.
That's what I know. That's
like, if you didn't figure that out at that point in time, then
my only problem with Flora was like, why did she turn the water on if she's gonna die? So right at the end, I think she was like drying herself a bath or something, and then she went in and lay down, and then she passes away. Um, her relatives come to, you know,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Huh.
Well, if she saw it happen a specific way,
mhm.
and
Water had to be
she
on.
knew, and she knew
Yeah.
that there's nothing she could do to avoid that happening, then she's
Mhm.
just kind of almost gonna like follow the script in her head, I would
Yeah.
think.
Then we
Uh,
get to
let's turn this off to save money. I don't.
yeah.
I don't
No,
need.
well, you can flood the apartment. That was my
Well,
point.
that
I'm pretty sure there's a point in time she doesn't care anymore.
Well, somebody has to clean that up. So.
That's the person that cares.
Yes. But yeah, well, that goes into was it predestination or free will? It's like, well, how much of a script was there? I guess too, but that's immaterial to this novel. But still, yeah, no, they all had satisfying endings, if I recall correctly. Although, one thing, it's like, okay, Why did the author put in a brother? Like he was like barely figured into the story.
He didn't do much.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I said. The only thing he really did was when he took Matilda to that dance thing. That's about the only that I can remember that. Yeah, otherwise he's just mentioned.
My godmother was one of, well, she had 7 sisters,
Hmm.
and they had one brother. And so, like, as far as like who I interacted with regularly, it was the sisters,
Right.
maybe like half of them more than the other half. But like the brother was there, I just didn't interact with him as often. So maybe it was just like a similar situation where she felt like, the brother had to be mentioned because he existed, but
Right.
wasn't.
He ain't got no powers. He ain't got this.
Yeah. I mean, it was the kind of thing where the expectation for me would be, like you said, like with males in Latino households. Oh, how he's treated, but they don't really say anything about it. So, although the story that you mentioned, Desiree, reminds me of a novel I read like that, 14 Sisters of Amelia Montez O'Brien
Oh wow.
by Oscar Hijuelos, which was really good. So, if you like this story, you might want to look at that one.
So is the fact that you remembered the full name and the author's name of that book.
I had to look it up because I was going with 13, but it's actually 14.
It's like I got the number wrong. It was the names
I got the number wrong, but you can look it up and the rest of it's close enough. Did you mean 14? Yes. Oh, look like
That's the relevant part.
well, yes. So. And of course, we also have it's Ona, it's Yadi who's the vegetarian chef, and which makes sense because her mom's the healer, and if you go with the food is love sort of a thing, that's essentially what her part in the wake is like she makes all this fantastic food.
I would also like to point out the difference and the generational gap that even the
Mhm.
food caused. The fact that, well, not just the food, but like because of grandma traditions passed down, and now you're going into veganism,
Mhm.
and they're all like, "What do you mean you don't want to eat meat or honey or any of these other things
Right,
that are
right.
good for you?" So that was an interesting thing to point out too, and I like that. It's the fact that it's like, why not honey? Honey's really good for everything. It's just why not honey? Like, but it's just like, no, it's a byproduct of
Animal.
it's a bad thing.
Yeah, and I don't know, I don't know anything about Dominican cuisine to know is how much vegetarian stuff is there, but apparently there's enough to have a feast with it. But.
Who was the character who was having their poop checked?
I remember that, but yeah, I don't remember who it was. But you're right. Somebody was watching there for months until they ate right. Right.
Oh yes, now that you said that, I knew. Yes, it was a pastoral.
I think so.
I can't remember. No, it was somebody who was under the Mama Sylvia's power, as I
Right.
recall. So, Pastora maybe, but I can't remember. Why are you? Is it just to say
Did
who
they
was it? Or?
explain? Well, yeah, because I couldn't remember who it was. But did they
Okay.
explain why her stomach was so messed up? Because I'm wondering if it had anything to do with being in the States and being sent to back to DR.
Well, let me look at before I say anything that's wrong. No. Oh, Yada is the one. I was thinking of Yada. She's the one who started out hating limes, and then there's this epiphany. Now she can't get enough of it. So I thought maybe that was
So putting lime in her coffee. I was like, what?
yeah. So let's see.
Huh. Who was asking about scurvy the other day?
Nobody was asking. We were talking
Cassie
about
was
it
talking
because
about
of
the
the
book she was.
wager.
Yeah, the wager. That's right. Talking about limeys at that point. I was like, uh-oh, lime's coming up again. What does that mean?
I just read about scurvy in another book I read, Longitude. So. Yeah, now that you mentioned that, yes, I do remember. It was over a prolonged period of time. Where, oh, you eat like this now, all right, and then she got fixed. But again, I don't remember who it was.
Because they started like listing off all the things she made her eat. It's like maybe you need to start eating all that.
Probably.
Oh, wow, this took a turn.
No, I appreciated the, the hey, we're gonna fix you with food.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can do that in the States.
Ugh.
I mean, you can. It just takes a lot of money.
It's got to be possible. I'll learn how to make sancocho. We'll see.
What's that?
I don't know. Something mentioned in the book. Some kind of stew, I think.
There is. I know there's at least one one place that serves Dominican cuisine, and so I want to go and try it because they have mofongo and plantains. Which it sounds good to me. I've had plantains before; they're really good. So I don't think I've had mofongo before. I'll certainly try it.
We just had a food truck the other day that tostones or mashed like fried plantains, right?
Yeah. They do have tostones.
They literally smashed them super flat and used them as a taco shell.
Oh,
and that was really good.
Yeah, food was awesome. Not Dominican, but it was awesome.
What's that? What was it, Puerto Rican?
Yeah, I think so. Don't know if I have anything more to add about the book, but do you?
Not really. I just wanted, I guess, pointing out the fact that I think every single person, every one of us has a specific superpower of some sort, or it's just not completely mental, physical, or always easily found.
What do you think yours is?
That's not something that you can't tell you. Nobody can. I think you can. Everybody else has to tell you what your superpower is. I don't think you can do that. And what am I really good at? Yeah, see, I don't know.
But you don't have I don't know, a vibe?
Luck. I have charm. I don't know. What is it? I don't know. You tell me.
Charisma. I don't know.
Again, if everybody is special, then no one is. There's that too. Or there's this one cartoon. Oh, I have it. I know I have it on my phone. I'll have to send it to you, which deals with this. So. But one question I had though is it seemed to me that a lot of times the flashbacks were about who who each of the women were, how they met their guy or their person, you know, and I was thinking, well, isn't there anything else? I mean, and I get that that's important, but you know, like we meet who was it? Ono, who had her girlfriend during college, and I can't remember her name.
Oh, the the snake tattoo thing.
Yeah.
In
I can't remember her name.
Yeah, I don't
And
remember.
clearly, she's still hot for her because they meet up later, and
Mhm.
yeah, well, the road not taken, at least then. So
I don't know. I feel like that kind of makes sense to me. I mean, in my family, like all the women were basically homemakers. Like, and I feel like we were raised to be good homemakers, to be able to cook, to take care of the husband. Like that was so much of the mentality that I guess it makes sense to me that it would be in the book that way.
So then the related question is, you know, we have Ona teaching at a college, and Yadi basically running her own catering or cafeteria, as they call it. Would they have that? Would you see them doing that in the Dominican Republic?
I mean, they're another generation, so I feel like they would start kind of deviating from things. Um, but no, I don't know if they would be doing the exact same thing in Deer.
Right.
I think they would just have.
I'd imagine the same opportunities would be there, but the resources to get there aren't as plentiful.
Okay.
And I'm not even meaning like as in like a poverty level, but I mean like just having other people around to help put you in that position.
Right.
Or there's probably more people to even already in that position that you can't take. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And then the other thing I thought of was, you know, how was it? They always plan to go back to the DR one day. Like, yeah, okay, we're going to finish up our work, you know, retire, and then go back home, you know, live where we grew up, as opposed to, yeah, I just think that's an interesting mindset. It's like, you know, yes, being born here, and you know, well, of course, yeah, this is where we live. But if you're born somewhere else, it's like, well, but you live for let's say 40 years in another country, then what? So.
Yeah.
And I get them wanting to go back, but it's just like, you know, how do you make that decision? I mean, I have not had to make those life choices, but I just think it's, you know, very difficult. I would think it's a very difficult decision to leave. Yes, you were born in the Dominican Republic, but all you know is New York for the past 40 years. How do you go back to? You know,
That's a great question.
Well, do we want to do final thoughts?
sure.
Do that? Yeah.
Okay. Go for it. You first.
I'm gonna go with 4 stars. It was a decent book, easy read. It had enough information in it, but I wasn't able to glean everything from it from the first read through. So if I was to read it again, it might help it.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, it's just it was a fun one. It's good. It had some interesting bits, and it was I guess this one looked for it's just easy. It was just an easy breezy, nice.
Would you read anything else by the author?
Haven't I? Have we? What else is she?
She wrote "Clap When You Land," "The Poet X,"
I think I heard some of that when you were listening to it.
and "With the Fire on High."
Okay.
"With the Fire on High" is the book that I bought for AJ in Spanish.
Ah.
Yeah, that one's probably not gonna happen.
Did either of you listen to the audiobook?
I did.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we both did.
I found out after I had finished it that there were actually 3 audiobook narrators
Yes.
on there. And one of them was the author.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
one
yeah,
of them
yeah.
was
I knew
the
the
author,
author
yeah.
was one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that she narrates her own stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some do, like Toni Morrison did.
So yes, you would read other stuff by her?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Tom, how about you? Final thoughts?
Well, I go back to what I said at the beginning. It's well written. There's some phrases like, oh, that was good, that sort of thing. But I think it's a book that needs a second reading. And again, this is just what my enjoyment of the book. I think I would have enjoyed it more if I got more of the timeline and such. And this is this. So I would give it a 3.5 stars and ran it down to a 3. And it was good, but like if I read it again, it could be like a 4.5, or a 5. So, but that's on me, not the author.
Right. I think I give it a 5, but I still also want to reread it.
Okay.
To get a better understanding of like all the characters and the timelines and how they're connected to each other. I do like her writing. I like how lyrical it is. I love her delivery of it. And like I said, she's an auto-buy author for me, so I would definitely continue picking up her work. And and I do believe this was her first adult novel. Next month, we will be reading the third book in the Broken Earth trilogy. Oh, next month being this month. This month, we're reading The Stone Sky, I think. Is that what it's called?
Yep.
Yeah. By N.K. Jemisin, which is the third book in the Broken Earth trilogy.
Third and last, as far as I know.
So, if you've stayed with us this whole time, thank you. Once again, if you ever want to join us on screen during our discussion, you can do that by becoming a Book Club VIP member on patreon.com/Libri Labra. You good?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for being here and see you guys next month. Bye.
Goodbye.